Okay, first father-son combo is Gary Trent Jr. and Gary Trent Sr. There's a lot of honorable mentions. Still sick. A lot of honorable mentions that will not be on this list. Cole Anthony and his dad, Greg Anthony, not on the list. Close. Very close to Gary Trent Jr. and Gary Trent. Really what it is you both have to have good careers, okay? To some degree. You can't just have one of them do the heavy lifting, okay? Devin Booker, his dad played in the league. And these are current players, by the way. You have to have, the son has to be in the league. So, Devin Booker, that's the last one. Devin Booker and his dad are not on this list. Nor Scottie Pippen Jr., not on the list. Because Scottie Pippen Jr. hasn't done enough yet. But if I redo this list, it's entirely possible that he's going to be on this list. So not on the list. LeBron James Jr., sorry. LeBron James Jr. hasn't started his career yet. Am I wrong? Is he an NBA player? You tell me. I tell you, no, he's not. How about that? But you can weigh in. So Gary Trent Sr., he was supposed to be a great player. He was in the same draft class as Kevin Garnett, 1995. He was the 11th pick. He was kind of a disappointment, from what I've gathered. He was supposed to be really good. He did have a season where he was doing 16 points and 8 rebounds. So he was good. He did have a reputation in the league. Only 9 seasons. People thought he was going to be better. They called him he played at Ohio University. He's like the best player to ever come out of Ohio University. That's all I really have on him. He was sort of a journeyman. Kind of a disappointing player. Gary Trent Jr., he was a second-round pick, and even now, he's sort of already outperformed his father. Gary Trent Jr. carrying the Trent name. He's an NBA Cup champion. And that's the only accolade that they have between the two of them. And he, 5,000 points. And I don't know how old Gary Trent Jr. is, but he's got plenty of career left. So, we can keep it pushing. Kenyon Martin Jr., most of his career, the best parts of his career, college, University of Cincinnati, they were. He was a first overall pick. People had high expectations of him. He was good. He was a one-time All-Star. This is the first All-Star on the list. 9,000 points, nothing to shake a stick at. Pretty good career. Again, another player who probably had higher expectations. Back-to-back, talking too fast, trying to blow through the video. Relax. Kenyon Martin, back-to-back finals appearances. His rookie year and his sophomore year with the New Jersey Nets. Peaked early. Definitely peaked a bit early. So, his son has potential to actually do better than Kenyon Martin. Think about it. He's at 2,500 career points. His dad's at 9,000. Kenyon Martin Jr. is really young. I think he's 24. He's a very young player. He's a second rounder. Again, there are a lot of guys like Gary Trent Jr. who their dads were first round picks. They were big names in the NBA. Maybe they didn't totally deliver. And I think there's definitely a correlation between a father not having as good of a career as he possibly could have and his son actually kind of over-delivering in the NBA, being a second-round pick. I find it pretty fascinating. Because the best players in the league, their sons, Michael Jordan, LeBron James Jr., even Sharif O'Neal, Dwayne Wade's son, Zaire Wade, they didn't really have NBA careers. So I think there's definitely something to that if a father's career ends early. Again, Kenyon Martin played for 15 years. So, I don't know. The son, it definitely is hard to find an exceptional dad that has an exceptional son. That's all I'm saying. So, Mychal Wiggins. Did you know Andrew Wiggins had a dad that played in the league? I had no idea. I didn't know this. He had a decent career. So we're at 3,000 points, 1,200 rebounds, 609 assists. He tore it up in the Greek League, by the way. This is Mychal Wiggins. Only 6 years in the NBA. Suspended. He was suspended for cocaine. Fascinating. Did you know that? Andrew Wiggins' dad. So he had a career that was cut short. He played for the Rockets. He played in the finals, I believe in 1987, when he was the sixth man for the Rockets when the Boston Celtics beat the Rockets in 1987. So he definitely was an NBA player. He definitely had a career. He's known Melvin Booker, but his son has outshined him. Andrew Wiggins has had a pretty good career. 13,000 points. That's good. He's an interesting case because he was a first overall pick, so he will never meet the expectations we thought he could be. And I think we always think of him as a disappointment. He is a champion and he is an all-star. So, I don't know. Do we still think of Andrew Wiggins as a bit disappointing? Yeah, I would say so. I think we thought he was going to be more than a one-time all-star. So, but he is good. Andrew Wiggins is still a good player. 11 years in the league. A great father-son combo. Andrew Wiggins and Mychal Wiggins. Larry Nance Sr. and Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Sr. is doing most of the heavy lifting here, even though Larry Nance Jr. is a power forward that bounces around the league in different trades and is used. He is a good player. Any team in the league could use Larry Nance Jr. Good vibes guy, willing to get in where he fits in and do it, and do the job, get some blocks, shoot some threes. Great player. And he's going to have a really long career. But again, if you look at his career stats, he's at 4,000 points, 3K rebounds. I believe he's 32 years old, 8 years in the league. No accolades yet. And I think if Larry Nance Jr. were to get accolades, it would be a championship. That was sort of how he would get in. I don't think he's going to get on an all-NBA team, an all-star team, unfortunately. Well-loved player, well-loved role player. But Larry Nance Sr. was a star. He's one of the best Cavs of all time. He's up there with your Mark Price. He's up there with LeBron James. True story. 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-Defensive Team, and dunk contest winner. First guy to dunk 2 balls at the same time. He had a reputation. Ask your daddy about Larry Nance Sr. 13 years in the league, 15K points. Now we're getting into players who are actually stars. Larry Nance Sr. was a star. So, Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson. I might be a little bit unfair. The Nance family maybe should have this spot. Maybe I'm a little bit too high on Jalen Brunson. Because the thing about Rick Brunson, here's his deal. Rick Brunson was, and this is so disrespectful to say, but I just want you to understand who Rick Brunson was and give you some clarity. Poor man's Jason Kidd. I know that sounds so disrespectful, but that is the most accurate way I can describe him. Because I was watching highlights. I had to make a lot of these GIFs, by the way. I had to make these GIFs myself, because do you think it's easy to find a Rick Brunson GIF online? It's impossible. There aren't any. There are literally none. So, they're on the internet now. You're welcome. You ever need a Rick Brunson GIF? It's on Google Images now. Because he only had 1,000 points. So he had 10 years in the league. I think he was really committed to basketball. And he loves basketball. Because he also is, he's been an assistant coach for 5 NBA teams. Played on 9 NBA teams. Only 1,000 points though. I think he had a good basketball IQ from what I understand. But he just wanted to play in the league. He had a real passion for basketball. And that comes through with his son, Jalen Brunson. He's already at 8,000 points, 2,000 assists. I believe Jalen Brunson is 29. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he has 7 years in the league. So I think I moved them up on this list just because I believe Jalen Brunson is going to have a pretty incredible career. And he's playing really well. So I moved him up. We're going to have at least three or four more seasons of Jalen Brunson being an all-star, being an all-NBA player, and maybe even getting a championship. Do I include Rick Brunson as coach if the Knicks win a championship? Do I give them extra credit? No, because this is players. I don't care about their ability to coach. So now you know a little bit about Rick Brunson. Now you know. Rick Brunson is the assistant coach of the Knicks. A lot of people accuse them of colluding when Jalen Brunson signed with the Knicks and the Mavs wanted to sign him. Do I believe there was collusion? Do I believe they colluded to get their assistant coach's son on the team? Was there tampering? Yeah. Yeah. If you're an NBA general manager and you complain about tampering, you're a fool. Shh. I'll show you my cat. Nope, she's gone. Not interested. So Gary Payton 2. So Gary Payton 2, I would say is I said I wouldn't cough, but I did. I'd say a top 20 player of all time. He's a DPOY. He is a champion. He remember with the Heat, and he played in 2006. So 21,000 points, highest points we've had so far. 5K rebounds, 8,000 assists. One of the greatest players of all time, Gary Payton, the glove. 18 seasons in the league. And so he made the finals in 96 with the Sonics. Him and Kemp playing Jordan and the Bulls. I remember this. I'm very old. I cried when the Bulls beat the Sonics. I liked the Sonics a lot. Then he comes back with the Lakers in 04. They lose to the Pistons. Comes back 06 against the Mavs. He finally gets his championship. And his son, also a champion. Both of them are champions. Did you know that Gary Payton has a son, Gary Payton II, and he also has a son, Gary Payton Jr.? Look it up. 2 different mamas. I always found that interesting. So Domantas Sabonis and Arvydas Sabonis. Again, these are you could make some serious arguments. The thing about Arvydas Sabonis was Soviet Union. He was in Lithuania and he wasn't allowed to leave the Soviet Union. He finally made it to the NBA in 1995 at 31 years old. Isn't that incredible? And people say he was sort of a diminished version of himself. And if you look at his career accolades, they all happened in Europe. None of them really happened in the NBA. If you watch his highlights, though, he reminds me of Jokic. When you watch it, this big man, he's sort of known as one of the best passing big men of all time. Now that Jokic is out there, he sort of has been eclipsed. But nevertheless, I think he was actually a better scorer when he was back behind the Berlin Wall. I think that's what people say. So by the time he got to the NBA, there was only a certain skill set that people saw. Still had a great NBA career, 5,000 points, 3,000 rebounds, 964 assists in only 7 years in the NBA. 7 seasons in the NBA. And they were toward the end, after his prime. And then his son, of course, is one of my favorite players in the NBA, and a player who I believe is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, Domantas Sabonis. 9,000 points, 3,000 assists, 6K rebounds. I believe he's led the league in double-doubles every year he's been in the league. I know I'm exaggerating. I think he's led the league in triple-doubles before. I think last year he had more triple-doubles than Nikola Jokic. I was watching them win last night. Sabonis, I think, one of the most underrated players in the league. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I'll probably say it again. 9 seasons in the league. Didn't expect this, huh? Here's the thing. Tim Hardaway Jr. was a great player. Part of the Run TMC group with Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, and Golden State. That was like the big 3 before Draymond, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. Really good. 15,000 points, 2K rebounds, 7,000 assists, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, first-team All-Rookie. I threw it in there. I threw it in there because Tim Hardaway Jr. also first-team All-Rookie. Like father, like son. So, Tim Hardaway, Hall of Famer as well. Of course, a lot of the guys I mentioned are Hall of Famers as well, too. Arvydas Sabonis, Hall of Famer, too. But his son, Tim Hardaway Jr., 10,000 career points. I believe he's 32 years old. Very solid career. Very solid scorer that I don't think we talk about enough. I think he kind of got in last year. I think he signed with the Pistons on basically this Pistons needing to use up cap space. So Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. got contracts. Now I think they were probably planning on trading them, but the Pistons are good. I don't think they're looking at trading away Tim Hardaway Jr. or Tobias Harris, which is pretty exciting. So a sneaky high 3 on here, right? You probably didn't expect that, but when you look at the stats, you're like, well, better than Sabonis, better than Gary Payton, even. Between the two of them, that's at least how I'm calculating it. If you're both really good and you both had really good careers, even if one of the guys, let's say Gary Payton, top 20 of all time, if you both had really good careers, it exponentially increases the value on this list. Klay Thompson and Mychal Thompson, and I sort of made an exception for this, because Mychal Thompson, another, like Kenyon Martin, #1 pick. Mychal Thompson was the #1 pick. But really, and he was kind of a disappointment. I mean, if you're a #1 pick, it sucks being a #1 pick because people expect you to be really good. But really where he made his name was being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's backup for the 1986-87. Was it 86 and 87 championships with the Lakers? Because that's where he got his 2 championships. The back-to-back. I want to say it was actually 87-88. So that's when Mychal Thompson became Mychal Thompson and became the NBA's Mychal Thompson. But Klay outdid him. Let's be real. Klay has not caught his dad's career points. But they both, interestingly enough, does Klay, you guys got to correct me if I'm wrong. Did I mess up Klay's stats? Does he only have 10,000 points in the NBA? That actually might make sense because he was injured for those 2 seasons. I'm pretty sure I got it right. So 4 championships, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and then a 1-time All-Defense. So Klay does most of the heavy lifting here, but dang, did his dad have a great career as well. So they're getting that #2 spot. Really what does it is 6 championships between the 2 of them is pretty impressive. #1, Steph Curry and Dell Curry. That is right. Seth Curry is not on this list. So Dell was a consummate 6-man. That's what he was. He was only a 1-time actual 6-man of the year, but he was a consummate 6-man. Guess the most games he started in a career. Whoa. Guess what the most games he started in a single season was. Guess it was 29. 29. But 16 years in the league. That's what he knew, I am a 6-man. And he was also one of the first progenitors. I don't know if that's the right word. I thought I'd try it out. He was one of the progenitors of the 3-point shot. Because I looked at his stats, and you look at earlier in his career, not shooting particularly great from 3, but I think that's pretty usual for young players. They don't shoot great from 3. But as he gets later in his career, he's shooting in the 40%. And you can sort of see, oh, this is why Steph and Seth's a great 3-point shooter, became who they are. And then, of course, so I got to give it up for, Dell Curry never won a championship. But Steph, 4 championships, 10-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 1-time Finals MVP, 16 years in the league, 24,000 points, 6,000 assists, 4,000 rebounds. So I didn't even really put any, I definitely could put an accolade or something. I could say something about him being the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, most made 3-pointers, put something in about his percentages, but I don't really have to, because just from what you can see on here on the screen, there ain't a better father-son combo than Dell Curry and Steph Curry. So let me know. I wonder if there's anything I missed on my notes. Oh well, it's alright. The video's over. Can't go back. Let me know if there's a father-son combo that I did miss, because I'm really curious. Maybe there's one very obvious one that I'm completely missing, and it's I'd be very embarrassed. But then you guys can leave comments. People will engage with it, and more people will watch the show. And maybe I get more money. This show does make a little money. It's like, if you're curious how much money, like an episode of this, a good episode could make $40. A great episode could make $100. A mid episode, $13. If you're curious, that's sort of what the ad revenue is. Am I just extending the video to increase the ad revenue? No, the video's over. Thank you for being here. Be good to your mother. Sorry I'm sick. Goodbye.